Hare Hare Krishna. So the Omagyan Itamanandasyaganam Janam Sharakaya Chakshurumiritam Natasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manopishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakata Mahim Paratika Parantika. So we, as I mentioned, we just celebrated to the Agnihotra. Agnihotra means what that we offered into the fire, Agni. Why do we offer into the fire? Because the fire is considered to be the tongue of God, the tongue of the Lord, which consumes our anything that's negative or anything that's sinful that we have done. And we offer, also the offering of the grains into the fire grains are considered to be wealth. In the Vedas it's considered that real wealth is cows, grains and land, because you can sustain yourself on cows and grains and land. If you have paper money, then you can't sustain yourself. If the food doesn't come into the city, then you may have all the paper in the world, but if there's no food, then you're out of luck. So we offer the grains, which are considered our wealth, our property, to the Lord, which is symbolic of offering our very life and our soul to the Supreme Personality of God. Now, of course, in different religions, different religious concepts, there are different conceptions of God. Some people have the conception that God is an energy, an ultimate energy that manifests different personalities at different times for the purpose of the upliftment of others. Some believe that God is within the heart, and we meditate on that Supreme Person within the heart. This is the position of the yogis. Some believe that God is pleased simply by good works, good morality, ethics, and some believe that God is the Supreme Person who is receives all of our spiritual activities and spiritual offerings. So these are different conceptions. Actually, according to one great acharya or person in our line, is called anyone's line is called parampara, or the way of receiving knowledge from the perfect source, from the Supreme, to ourselves. So the ceremony we just celebrated is to recognize that those persons who received initiation, Diksha, this is called. Diksha means to enlighten, receive enlightenment. They're receiving enlightenment from a line of disciplic succession, from persons connected to the Supreme, down to the individual who is receiving that opportunity. Initiation, as the word implies, means to begin. So it means the beginning of spiritual life. So this is called the second initiation. Second initiation means that one began their spiritual life by the most important and potent activity, which I just explained previously, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which is called Sankirtan Yagya, or that sacrifice which is performed. Actually, it's not really a sacrifice because it's very joyful, very happy thing to chant the Maha Mantras. We can see no one was suffering while we were chanting. Maybe the knees, if you've been sitting for a long time. But that will happen. The body is giving out. There's one in one of our scriptures. One great saintly person says that previously, all the joints in my body gave me great pleasure. I could run here and there. I could do so many. Now they're all giving me pain. So, but our consciousness. Consciousness is the energy of the soul that connects us with some object. So, our consciousness, when it's focused on the Supreme, when it's focused on God, then it gives us great pleasure. So much so that Krishna, the Supreme Person, the most attractive person, which is what Krishna means, says that this transcendental spiritual knowledge is so wonderful that susukam gartum avyayam. It eternally gives us great happiness. So this is Krishna consciousness. So the ceremony recognizes that these persons who were initiated into the chanting of the holy name, the Maha Mantra, are now desirous of taking a further step in Krishna consciousness. So, this further step is explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the most recent incarnation of the Supreme Lord. He says, one person was asking him, his name was Satyaraj Khan, so he asked him, how do those persons, there are many great saintly persons who live in the forest and all day long meditating on the Supreme, so it's very easy to understand how they become elevated and go beyond this world and become liberated and go back to their original spiritual existence. But what about those people like me who have family, work, like most everybody, except probably for me. I'm probably the only one in this room that's, copping out. No. I'm trying to do something to help others and achieve that spiritual path. Of course, many of the persons here also do that, but they also may have to work or do something. So what about those people, the majority, the vast majority, which is actually the reason why Krishna explained Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. He could have explained it to Narada Muni, could have explained it to some great sage meditating in the Himalayas, but then everyone would have said, immediately, excuse, we're always looking for excuses. Why not to do something which may be a little difficult for us? Although this spirituality is very joyful, but if we're not used to it, like anything, if you're not used to exercising and then the doctor says, now you have to walk 3 miles a day, then your legs will hurt. You won't feel like doing it. You'll think of many reasons why I shouldn't do it. It's too cold, it's like this, it's raining. So Krishna didn't want to give everyone an excuse. Oh, he just spoke that to some sage who's living, living on air or living on air and water. So I can't do that. So therefore, he spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, who began the whole lesson of Bhagavad Gita saying, I don't want to hear this. I want to just go in the forest. I don't want to do what you want me to do. Which is many people's position. They think God is good, God is great, and He's especially great if He doesn't tell me to do anything. If He just lets me live my life, then He's great. No. But He's not so great if He starts telling me how to run my life. No. So that was Arjuna's mood, more or less. But he was very attached to Krishna, because Krishna, even though we may somehow or another find it difficult to follow the Supreme Lord, at the same time we all feel a connection. At least most pious people, most normal people feel that there's something supreme, there's something beyond their daily existence of working and family affairs and trying to get more out of life, make more money, whatever we may be endeavoring for. So Krishna chose Arjuna and said, and Arjuna, not only did he choose Arjuna, but in a very extenuating circumstance, very difficult situation, where Arjuna had to fight a battle. And not only did he have to fight a battle, but with his friends, his cousins, his grandfather, his teacher, everyone who was dear to him, well, not everyone, but many people who were dear to him, to illustrate that this Bhagavad Gita is made for us. If it can apply to the most difficult circumstance, then it must be applicable to my, difficult for me, but probably not in the same category as Arjuna's difficulty. So the Krishna giving us that knowledge, that information, taking that step, Satyaraj Khan, he said, what is the hope for me, a family man? So many responsibilities. So Lord Chaitanya told him, you just chant incessantly, meaning as much as you possibly can. No? Incessantly may be a little overbearing for most of us, but as much as you can. You chant this Maha Mantra, which is composed of the names of God, which is composed of the most auspicious and spiritually potent names of the Supreme Lord. And, of course, Lord Chaitanya in other circumstances said you can chant any name of the Lord, but just do it, and purify your existence. Cleanse your heart, cleanse your thoughts, cleanse your mind, cleanse your activities. And he said, so then he said something very extraordinary. He said that if you just chant this mantra even one time perfectly, then you can achieve perfection. You don't have to. You don't even have to go through this ritual that we just did. You don't have to go through any ritual. You don't even have to prepare for it. Because the name of God is not different from God. The name of Krishna is not different from Krishna. And therefore, if you chant it with full sincerity, full concentration, then you can go beyond all ceremonies, everything. So then, of course, many of us may say, that sounds like a good program for me. Oh, I like that. I'll just chant it once and finish. But chanting purely is not so easy. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada explained, our spiritual master Srila Prabhupada explained, that all of our great acharyas, all of the great spiritual masters in our line have delineated, especially Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami, that you have to take spiritual initiation and worship the Lord in a systematic way. And that will purify your heart so that you can qualify to chant one time purely. Otherwise it will be very difficult. It's possible, but not very probable. Just like many things may be possible, but they may not be feasible, they may not be probable. So this was his instruction. So this is what we did today. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that those persons who take this initiation should be serious, should be sober. Otherwise they should continue to chant until they develop that degree of sincerity and determination where they can understand that the most important thing in life is to love God. And therefore I will make my greatest effort, not to make money, I may have to make money, I may have to do something, I have to take care of my family, but my greatest effort will be to cultivate my love of God. And those are the persons who are eligible to take this step in spiritual life. So Krishna says, what are the characteristics of such a person? That Shama, they should be able to control Shama Dhammas, they should be able to control their mind and control their senses. Otherwise, the purpose of spiritual life is to gain control, be the Lord of our body, not that the body is the Lord of my existence, and whatever it demands, because it will demand one thing after another and after another and after another. So we take control of our body and our mind, tapa, and we dedicate ourselves to quality activities, quality goals, by a little bit of sacrifice, sacrificing ourselves for something greater than what we've achieved previously. And shaucham, live a pure existence, externally and internally. Externally keep oneself clean, and internally also keep oneself pure. And kshantir, to be very humble and be very forgiving. Arjavam, to be very honest. Jnanam, to cultivate spiritual knowledge, vijnanam, and to know how to put that spiritual knowledge into practice, and ashtikam, and follow a system of spirituality given, tailored to one's personal needs. That this is the purpose of taking the initiation, so that one has a spiritual guide who can tell you how to do it, how to do it in the best way, what you need at this particular time, at this particular step. And as I explained previously, this is called parampara. So, receiving the knowledge from the person who has received the knowledge from the person who has received that knowledge. So, why somebody may think, well, why should we do that? Why can't I just read some book on spirituality and you know, that's good for me, or I have my tradition. So my tradition says that if you just do these things and those things, that you'll be okay. But what we're talking about today is not just being okay. It's achieving perfection. The real purpose of human life is spiritual perfection. Not just to be okay or to feel okay. That's good. But that is a product. If you achieve spiritual perfection, the soul is perfectly situated in a loving relationship with God, and also on every other level you'll feel wonderful, and you'll achieve every possible goal in life that nurtures our spiritual advancement and spiritual progress. So this is the purpose of this particular sacrifice or ceremony today. Now my dear godbrother, my dear friend, Kripamoya Prabhu is here, and I wanted to ask him to speak some words. He's very qualified, much more than me. That's not difficult. But anyway, he's certainly can enlighten everyone with some words of wisdom and spirituality for all of you. So I'll just turn the mic over to him. And thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Particularly thankful to hear about tonight's yajna. I think that sometimes these commitments in spiritual life can wait a long time. This initiation is something that is very much contemplated and aspired for, but it's really something which should be in keeping with the definition of the word itself. Initiation means to begin. And we have to get the beginning over as soon as possible and get on with the rest, because the rest is the rest of life. But the beginning is wonderful. So thank you very much for taking this step and receiving the Guru Prasad that comes with becoming initiated. Maharaj has such a wonderful name because he is such a wonderful spiritual master who gave him Prasad. Sometimes in this world it is very difficult to be a sadhu. Everything in Kali Yuga militates against the life of dedication to the voice of the spiritual master and his service. How one can be a dedicated sadhu is to receive the mercy of the spiritual master. Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasado. Yasya prasadan nagati katopi. We sing these verses in dedication to the spiritual master. By the mercy of the spiritual master one can achieve Krishna. Without the mercy of the spiritual master one cannot achieve Krishna. We all wish to become Shamabalabha. We all wish to become dear to the Lord. Excuse me, I'm playing with the names. But I see the business of, we may ask, what is the business of second initiation? If the Maha Mantra that I received on first initiation is the most important, if it does everything for me, if the names of the Lord does everything. Well, we should see everything that's given to us by the spiritual master as an opportunity to make more advancement. It's an instrument of service. chanting more mantras dedicated to the Lord is even better than chanting mantras dedicated to the Lord. Right? And when you get some special ones too. One time in London, Prabhupada was asked, Srila Prabhupada, what is a guru? And Prabhupada gave many different answers on many different occasions, but on this particular occasion in London, he said, just like now I can see, and then he lifted up his spectacles and he put his spectacles on and he said, now I can see better. And he held his spectacles and he said, this is the Guru. Now I can see better. So, when we talk of this initiation, we also talk, there's another word, upanayanam, means to come closer. To come closer. Upanisha means to come closer and to listen to something. So it's upa, we come closer. And this is what we want to do all through our life, to come closer to Krishna. To come closer to the platform that Narottam Das Thakur told us about, making the Guru's instructions one with our heart, and executing those instructions, keeping them as the life and soul of our very life. This is the true meaning of one-pointed consciousness. Prabhupada was commenting in his verse on the consciousness should not become many-branched. And when Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was making a commentary, he said, this means to have firm resolution to follow the spiritual master's orders. It's no easy thing to have a guru, no cheap thing to have a guru. As Prabhupada said, it is not a fashion. It is not a fashion. But it's the beginning of the life of dedication. And especially when we get some extra mantras, especially these mantras are meant for worshipping the Lord in His form. Although in our particular tradition, the name of the Lord, Nama Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, we say that the name of the Lord and the Lord Himself are the same. So for us the name of the Lord is very important. But that is not to say that we should not avail ourselves of the form of the Lord. And wherever Prabhupada went in the world, he would take the form of Lord Krishna as well as the name of Lord Krishna. And he said that by serving the deity one becomes pure, clean, the mind becomes fixed on Krishna, we become punctual, finally, we become regulated, and the home or the temple is spinning around the axis of Krishna. All our activities in life are like a wheel, and the wheels go around a hub, and the hub of that is Krishna Himself. I told a story the other night that people laughed at. Let's see if you laugh at it again. We British tend to be proud, Maharaj. Did you know this? We British tend to be proud, and there was a gentleman, he was an admiral in the British Navy, and he was going through the water, and off in the distance he saw a light, and he said, send a message that this ship should get out of the way. And the light message came back, no, you must move. So then he sent another message. He said, I am a British naval battleship, and I am an admiral. I command you to move. And the light message came back and said, and I am a lighthouse. You move. So this big battleship, he had to move because he became enlightened as to the nature of reality. And this is what the instructions of the Guru does. It shows us reality that we cannot see. That's the whole point. If you become involved in a spiritual relationship with someone whose vision is exactly the same as yours, then this will not be so potent. But if you have someone who can contribute their vision then you will adopt their vision just by that association. Prabhupada said that is the value of Sat-Sangha. Sat-Sangha means that, he said, when something comes in the presence of the beautiful, precious jewel, everything that comes in association with that beautiful, precious jewel takes on the same color. So in coming closer to the Guru and receiving instructions, we begin to take on the qualities of the Guru. And the qualities of the Guru is one who is dedicated to Krishna. So you also become dedicated to Krishna. Yes, there is fear involved in coming closer to Krishna. There's fear involved. It's a big step. It's a big step, and you deserve to be congratulated for taking this big step. Why is it a big step? Because we are leaving behind something that we are attached to, and we're moving towards someone we want to become attached to, but there's some fear. Will I make it? Am I good enough? Will I be able to chant these mantras every day? Can I live up to the standard that my Guru Maharaj expects of me? What happens if I fail? What happens if I do the wrong thing? What happens if I'm doing puja and I do it wrong? Oh. So the general need in spiritual life is to be encouraged. To be encouraged means to be given courage. To be given courage, to be encouraged, means to feel the fear that is involved with taking the next step, but to go forward. Courage doesn't mean that fear has left you. It just means that you're being brave despite the fear. So every step of spiritual life is like that. Every step. Every day practically. Can I live up to this? And the message comes from the Guru and the Parampara, yes you can. Yes you can. Because you're with us. To take shelter of the Guru, to receive mantras from the Guru means to take shelter. It means to choose, to voluntarily choose to accept shelter. And shelter means that you will be sheltered. You will be given something, given the extra strength that you need to be protected. Be protected from doing the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing, and sometimes even thinking the wrong thing. There's a special power that comes. So these mantras that have been given today help the mind in different ways. They raise us up so that we can chant Hare Krishna very nicely. They focus the consciousness so that we can see the Lord in His name. And they help to rededicate the heart to serving the Lord's lotus feet. And in this way, I was reading a letter today. Prabhupada said, it is not that I want everybody to come to my temple. He said, but we want people to come to the temple and to learn how to make their own home a temple. You see? So I see here, this is a beautiful temple. You see? It's a beautiful temple. And everybody should be invited to come. Because if the home becomes a temple, and the public are given darshan in your home, then you make so much advancement by sharing Krishna with others. So by this process of initiation, you become a different person. Something changes. Something quite fundamental changes. And a new life begins. And in a few months' time, again, you'll have an opportunity to take a greater step forward. You'll realize things about your relationship with your spiritual master that you never realized before. There's always a freshness. Krishna will keep that relationship fresh. Nava Yovana. Always new. There's something always new in spiritual life. It will never become boring or old. You'll never lose your taste, provided you stay on the path. There's energy. It's dynamic. And it's wonderful. And I thank Maharaj so much for being here. Very rare opportunity to be here and to help to celebrate and to be extremely charitable. Maharaj, did you know that you've come to one of the worst parts of London? Just 3 months ago we had police helicopters and the whole of this area was in flames. So, your Guru Maharaj is genuinely Patita Pavana, even more than Patita Pavana, Patita Udarana, reaching down to the lowest part of London to raise everybody up. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Kripamoya Prabhu, for your wonderful speech. I just wanted to say, as far as being in the worst part, I'm used to that. Not a problem. But I just wanted to add on the very wonderful point that you made about making the home into a temple. And it does give people, it gives them the opportunity also to understand that I can also do this. If we have a temple somewhere and they see priests running around and they may think this is not, it's not practical for me, I don't understand what's going on. But when there's a temple in the home, people can get first-hand information and understanding of what it means. And so it's a very important thing. Actually, I've always said that grihastas are persons who live at home and practice Krishna consciousness are the most important element in our preaching, because it's something that other people can identify with. And therefore Lord Chaitanya, when Kurma Brahmana, when he came to his house and he said, I want to go with you, this, you know, this working and taking care of the family, and now that I've seen the bliss of being with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, no, I want to do this. No, you stay home. Just teach everyone in your neighborhood, in your area, by your personal example. So this is a very, very, very important thing for our Krishna consciousness movement. And in closing today's activities, I mean not all the activities, but in closing this part of it, because the most important activity is just coming up, which is a special kirtan from Kripamoya Prabhu, and then followed by an even more special for most people, those who are still in the transcendental Annamoya stage. We have Kripamoya, Annamoya, which is taking Krishna Prasad. No. So that will be the next thing. Everything is better in Krishna consciousness. No. First you had to listen to me, then you got enlightened. Now you get a wonderful kirtan, and then prasad. But when the other part of the ceremony today was also through Yajna to receive the deities of Shri Shiva and Krishna. We, just before everyone arrived, in order to be on the Anglo-Saxon time schedule, we did the little ceremony prior to everyone coming. There were a few people here. So I was requested to give them a name, so I chose the name Radha Rasaraj. So that was, I pray that Shri Radha Rasaraj will bless everyone with rasa, or the understanding of how to develop and deepen their loving relationship with Krishna. To the mercy of Srimati Radharani.
Very nice.
So, before we have our next kirtan, are there any questions? Don't be shy. Okay, so that's good.
You can just speak a little bit about the offering of the lamp, since some of our guests.
Oh yes.
Just put it down.
Yes. Yes, actually today is the last day of the most auspicious spiritual opportunity in the year called Kartika. For anyone that may not know, I think most of you know. So Kartika, today is our last day, and to celebrate this auspicious month, which many spiritual and transcendental activities happened in relation to the Supreme Lord. He did many wonderful activities, and in this month we offer a lamp, a little lamp of ghee, to the Lord in his form as Damodar, celebrating celebrating his wonderful activity of binding his devotee, his own mother, who is his devotee also, binding her in her loving devotion, being bound by her and binding her closer to him, and allowing himself, who is independent, unlimited, immeasurable, to be bound by the love of his mother. Because the Supreme Lord is maintaining unlimited universes while sleeping. Now, how much effort do we have to make to sleep? Not much. And unless you're an insomniac. But Krishna's not, and he sleeps and creates unlimited universes. But he's fully awake when his devotee, just like we hear some crying there in the back. So when the devotee cries out to the Lord, please help me. Please give me your mercy. When we cry out with that same dependence that a child, when crying for the mother, does, then that attracts the Lord more than the activities of unlimited universes which are going on. So this is the special quality of love.
Hare